Hello viewers and welcome to News of TV. I am Makanaka Masinga. The story is making the headlines. Julius Malema in scathing attack on Mnangagwa in the courts. Late former military boss widow in suit for court defiance. In business, wages lag behind consumption poverty line. In sports, Marvelous Nakamba hopes English stint will inspire his countrymen. News in detail. Outspoken South African opposition economic freedom fighters leader Julius Malema has launched a scathing attack on President Emmerson Mnangagwa's government for allegedly going against late former President Robert Mugabe's wishes not to be buried at the National Heroes Acre. Mugabe died earlier this month, with his burial place becoming contested territory between his family and government, which wants the former leader interred at the National Shrine. Speaking to journalists at the late former president's burial home in Harare on Monday, Malema took a swipe at the Mnangagwa government, which he described as full of chances who were trying to gain mileage out of Mugabe's demise.
We shouldn't rely on those who envy President Mugabe, because I think there are others who envy him, and there can only be one Mugabe. These are chances. So they shouldn't even try and want to be like him. They won't even come anywhere close to him. So it is for those who believe in what he stood for, who should protect his legacy. And if the current dispensation here believes in President Mugabe, they should protect his legacy. Part of protecting his legacy is first and foremost to respect his last wishes and to respect the wishes of his family. It's an absolute nonsense that you think declaring a person a national hero takes away the right of the family over the deceased. The family, especially the surviving spouse, has got the last word. It doesn't matter whether you have declared a person a national hero, whether you are doing a state funeral. Every little detail of what you want to do around a dead body should be consulted with the family, particularly when we are Africans. And there is a very strong surviving spouse here, which is not easily shaken by arrivalists. So they ought to really respect her and respect the wishes of this family.
Malema said Mugabe's successors must respect the wishes of Zimbabwe's founding leader. Reports say Mugabe expressed his wishes to be laid to rest in his rural Rimba home in Mashonaland West, but government feels he deserves burial at the National Shrine, where a mausoleum is being built in order to bury his remains. Harare's perennial water woes are set to worsen following a decision by authorities at Town House to shut down the city's Morton Jeffrey water plant after failing to raise funds to buy water treatment chemicals. This follows a distress call sent to central government by city fathers for Harare's water challenges to be declared a state of disaster to pave way for a concerted approach to resolve the crisis. The closure of the plant will bring more misery to ratepayers who are already subjected to dry taps every day. Harare was the epicenter of a devastating cholera outbreak that killed more than 4,000 people countrywide and left more than 100,000 hospitalized between 2008 and 2009. Residents are up in arms over spending priorities by city fathers amid claims that a great chunk of the city's revenue is channeled towards luxuries for city executives and their aides. Speaking at an extraordinary dialogue meeting in Harare recently, Acting Mayor Enoch Pamawonde said the construction of Kunji Dam, as demanded by some stakeholders, will not end challenges around access to clean, potable water in the troubled city.
We are, however, happy that our engagements with the government has yielded positive direction to include Kunji Dam on its 2020 budget. We hope it will finally come to fruition. Most of the feasibility studies which are supposed to be done before such a massive project is done are said to have been completed. But constructing Kunji Dam alone will be far from enough, because it will take us to 950 megaliters per day if Kunzi Dam is constructed, and Kunzi Dam alone, excluding Mozambique. So, yes, we should proceed as a nation, but we should not plan to fail. But planning to succeed, it means the two dams need to be constructed and beginning now, so that we have the 1,400 megaliters per day on completion.
Due to the crisis, some residents have resorted to fetching water from shallow wells, exposing them to diseases. In the courts, the widow of late Defense Forces Commander International Hero General Vitalis Zinawashe has been dragged to court again for defying a court order in a case in which she is locked in a fierce dispute with a farming partner. Margaret Zinawashe was taken to court before for refusing to share proceeds with Oilseed Association of Zimbabwe, her contract farming partner. She told court that she was going to comply with an order for her to act likewise. However, according to the latest summons filed by the company, upon return to the workstation, they realized she had sold the farm produce and pocketed all the proceeds. Oilseed Association of Zimbabwe says it is entitled to $53,274 in terms of its share. The company also wants Zinawashe to be compelled to pay legal costs. Zinawashe has not responded yet. In business, salaries across the country's key economic sectors have remained subdued, with employers continuing to award increments way below the total consumption poverty line. Zimbabwean firms are battling for survival amid a fast deteriorating economic environment. Employees have borne the brunt of the crisis as they have not been awarded meaningful wage hikes in a fast imploding economy where prices are shooting through the roof. Civil servants who were recently awarded a 76% salary increase while pushing for the least paid worker to be paid at least $1,023 are also below the consumption line. Most companies listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange have defended the current salaries, saying they cannot offer increases that are being triggered by black market foreign currency exchange rates, as these are not linked to economic productivity. We end with sports. Zimbabwe football international Marvelous Nakamba says he wants to use his time at Aston Villa and in the English Premier League to promote his country and inspire the next generation of footballers. The 25-year-old has played 2 league games for Aston Villa since joining them from Belgian side Club Brugge in August. Nakamba told the BBC that by breaking into the world's most illustrious football league, he was also representing his countrymen, most of whom have found it tough to play in England. The midfielder is the 4th Zimbabwean to play in the English top flight league after former Liverpool goalkeeper Bruce Grobler, Coventry City star Peter Ndlovu, and Manchester City striker Benjamin Maruwaru. He says having the 3 former Zimbabwe players as a reference point has helped him adapt to the English game. Reporting for newszimbabwe.com, I am Makanaka Maselimo. For these and more stories, visit our website www.newszimbabwe.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Music TV.